If you will please open the booklets that have been distributed on page 6. We'd like to start the service with a kapitel from Tehillim, number 23. You can follow along and say it on an undertone if you wish. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar, binos deshi aritzin amei menu chosina haleni, nafshi yeshoy ve'vianchen v'magle tzedek leman shemoi, gam ki edech v'geit salmavis, lo irara ki ata imadi, shiftecha mishantecha hema yenachamuni, taroch lefanai shocha neget sorai, v'shanta v'shemen roshi kosi Rivaya, achto v'chesed, yirdefuni koyimei chayai, v'shapti v'veis Adonai le'orech yamim. David, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yes, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Hashem forever. Verse, David HaMelech's son, Shlomo, King Solomon, wrote, Mayim amukim belev ish, v'ish tevunos yidlena. Mayim amukim, deep waters reside in the heart of a person, and a person of discernment can draw them out. You know, the Mayim amukim that were on the roads that we had to trek through to get here, shows the very special chashivas you have for the Kurson family, some coming from far and coming from near. There's a lot of meaning in those words about Mayim Amukim. But the simple meaning of this passage is that Judaism has many deep, significant customs and observances. And each one of them, from the womb to the tomb, it guides us through the rites of passage in life and in death. And definitely this period of time is replete with a lot of meaningful concepts. Among the concepts is a discussion in the Talmud that says, is the deceased aware of what's going on with others, its loved ones around it? And the answer is inconclusive, like a lot of Talmudic passages. But it is clear that however things that go on in that body itself, they are aware. They are aware of what's happening to it. And even though the highest levels of the soul, as the Talmud teaches us, the neshama, chay, yechida, the highest levels, they go straight to Shemayim. They go up to under the Kisei HaKavod, under the holy chariot, the divine presence, returning to where they were brought into the world. But the level of ruach and nefesh, those are still around. The spirit is called the ruach, the emotive components of the person. And the nefesh, which is its animated soul, the body, the goof itself is still aware. In fact, it's somewhat confusing for that neshama, because it's floating between where it resided in life and the other world and who knows where. And we here, by doing these various observances and showing respect and reciting prayers, etc., we're giving nechama, we're giving great comfort to the neshama of Jessica, of Rivkah Bas David. And with her loving family around her, she would have nothing more meaningful to her to have her loving family, her sisters, Penina and Vanessa, and her brother, Buzzy, and their children. I want to share a story before I share some of my own words, and then introduce a couple who will share in a eulogy. Again, the eulogy can be spoken in the first person. I'm addressing the nifteris, or in any way you want to address, that's up to you. But she is aware of what we're saying. Not long ago, a story is told of a person who left this world without any heirs, no children, no ever distant relatives in Yerushalayim, and he had a tzavah. He had a last will and testament of what should be done. And he wanted a particular song they sang every Friday night to be sung at his funeral. Chaver Kaddish were in receipt of this. He passed from the world on an Erev Shabbos, Friday afternoon. There wasn't enough time in Eretz Yisrael. There's a mitzvah not to allow the body to remain overnight. But it was there was another Levaya going on, another funeral, and they had to wait till Motzei Shabbos. But this, in the tumult, and it was a rainy day also, and it was difficult to find a minyan. The Chevra Kadisha found 9 people exactly, but he needed a 10th person for a minyan to be able to recite the number of prayers. So one of them is 1 a.m., Saturday night. So one of the Chevra Kadisha said, well, we'll find someone, and I'm sure we'll find someone. He walks into a shul, saw the light on, and to a Beit Midrash. There's one lone person sitting there. He approached him and says, Rabbi, would you like to join us for a funeral in Har HaMenuchos? And he said, do you have no one else to do it? I'm preparing a class for tomorrow. He says, not at this hour. And he said, sure. Okay, he got into the van together with the rest of the men. They went up to the mountain. They went to the gravesite. And then they did what they had to do quickly in the rain. And the Chevra says, remember there's one song that we're supposed to sing. It's Bar Yochai. This famous song redressing Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar, of Jewish mysticism, an amazing sage. And he sang it every Friday night. There's one thing that he asked to be sung. Does anybody know this song by heart? Nobody. It's a long song. Does anybody have it, a siddur with that might have it in it? Not all siddurim have that. No. So this man who they picked up in the shul said, wait a moment. He reached in his pocket, and there's a page from a siddur that had fallen on the ground in the shul out of 700 pages. It happened to be that page of that song of Bar Yochai. And they shared it. He sang it, and they led together in the song, and it was an amazing moment of what we call hashgacha pratis, of divine supervision that allowed this person to have his last wishes met. It's not a simple thing. So it's an amazing thing that Jessica has a big merit that she has her sisters and her brother here with her at these moments as she's transitioning from one existence to the next. I have a little bit of an insight on my relationship to Penina and to the family is only over the last couple of years. And I think I've been to the cemetery more times in the last 2 years than I have in the 40 previous years. 2 of my grandparents are buried back there, and then to my grandmother and my great-grandmother or somewhere over here. And it's ironic that the plot that we're about to go to, as you pass here, you'll see that Mel Blanc is buried there, the creator of Bugs Bunny. And next to my grandparents is Bugsy Siegel. Now, what is the irony of all that? I don't know. But I'd share you that because this is an unusual place. Hollywood Forever, what an interesting name for a cemetery. Hollywood seems like a very fleeting thing, people seeking their fame. Everybody's got a script. And yet, forever, Netzachim, forever is what we're talking about over here. That the things that we do are showing that the Jewish belief in the afterlife is strong, that there's life after life. We don't just fall off a cliff and that's the end of it. And therefore, as I address Jessica, Rivkah, Bas, David, though I didn't know you that long, but my memories are very only positive. You sang with your feet. You sang to your sister. The last words that you said were that I love you. You were, Betty, your favorite nurse over at the convalescent home in San Bernardino. She was your favorite nurse, and she spoke highly of you. I don't know you if you had a mean bone in your body. Everybody loved you, and I wish I had known you more and had some part of your journey as well. And perhaps this is where I'm supposed to be, and God willing, your soul will soar to a higher place and be a Malitza Yosher for all of us. There is a passage found in the prophet Isaiah that actually in the Ma'aver Yabok, this wonderful sefer that has to do with transitional parts of life, says, Nivalti Yakuman Yikitzu Yirananu Shochni Afar Kital Oris Talecha Ve'eres Refaim Tapil. Basically, the gist of that verse is that the song that you wanted to sing, I know you couldn't speak very well toward the end of your life, but that song is on your soul, and that song will be sung again. You'll rise up again with the rest of those who are in merit, Techias Amesim, the resurrection, reuniting of the body and the soul. And we will dance with your sister. You'll dance with your sisters and your friends and we'll go up to Yerushalayim together in the pilgrimage. And life will be as God intended it to be. The anomaly of death is truly that. The intent is that the Gan Eden Elyon and Gan Eden Tachton and we're intended for to dally in it for all of our days. And just in case you wanted to know what we see outside of the fence on the other side, this one passage I'd like to share with you from one of the teachings. Just as there is a Gan Eden above, a paradise above, there's one down here as well. And it's told that Elijah the prophet, Eliyahu Navi, took the hand of Rabba Bar Avuha and he took him to one of the walls of the earthly Gan Eden, Garden of Eden. He took out his cloak and he took from some of the leaves of the tree that were hanging over the wall. And he went, as he left that place, he heard a bas call, a heavenly voice call out, Mi achol olam el kazeh? Who wants to enjoy their portion right now in the world to come? He understood that he shouldn't take any pleasure from it. He shook off his cloak, but even so, a little bit of the fragrance from that, myrtle or whatever type of plant it was, clinged to his cloak. And it could be smelled wherever he went. And somebody offered him thousands of zahuvim, of coins, just to own that garment. If this is only one anecdote about what the world to come is about, can you imagine what it really is? Back down here and above. And that's for us, lying the rasas elokecha, your God, that only you, God, know what that's like. And we just hope that the glimpses that we get of it, the Shabbat that we observe and some other pleasure we get in this world is only 1/60th. There's only a smattering of what it's all about. But the things that we're doing here are making it so this neshama, this precious soul of Rivkah Bas David, is accompanied to her final resting place down here and above. And may she be a nechama for us and a melitza yosher, an advocate above in the Olam HaKadoshim. I'd like to call up at this point her brother, Buzzy, who will say a few words to eulogize her memory.
First of all, I want to say thank you for all of you that have come to honor my sister. She was a beautiful soul. When I think about her life, I did a calculation because 56 years, when you think about that number, doesn't seem like a very long period of time when you measure time in years. She was 6 weeks shy of her 57th birthday, so I can tell you that I multiplied out 356 days over the course of her lifetime, and it came out to 20,756 days. When you look at it from that perspective, that's quite a lot of time. You can live life to its fullest in that period of time. And for many of you, you have lived far beyond those many days that I've just numbered. But when you think about that number, it really put everything into perspective with me, because she did live a full life. Even though we may think 56 years is all she was granted, in those 56 years, she really lived life with zest, with love, with happiness. I know that many of you didn't know her, but she loved to make people laugh. One of her favorite comedians was Jackie Mason. And although she wouldn't go out in front of everybody and perform in that fashion, she always took me aside and always said something under her breath in the voice of Jackie Mason, just to bring a little levity to the situation. And that was my sister's aim, to care about others. She was very concerned about our family. She always was asking about how our kids are doing, tell them that I love them. And she meant it. Her ability to be able to come and interact with us was limited because of her resources, her way of life, the distance. But what was important to her were special occasions. Birthdays were very important to her. In our family, we have this wonderful gift of being able to express ourselves in writing. And whenever a special birthday rolls around, we always take the time in cards to express ourselves because we can't always speak to each other, but words are special. I have a collection of cards that go back decades, and my wife is always asking, why do you keep all those? And I keep them because when you read those thoughts, they are blessings that are being expressed, and I never want to throw away those blessings. Even if I don't think about them, from time to time I'll go back and look at them and remind myself of that good wish or that good blessing. And my sister had a gift for writing, and she expressed herself so beautifully in her words. And I've done the same, and my kids have done the same. And it's a legacy, and it's something that she should be remembered by. I wanted to read something too out of the Wisdom of Solomon. Give me a second here. I want to read out of the 127th Psalm, and I'll read it. It's a short psalm, but let me read this to you. First, let me call it up. Well, be my luck, it says no service. If anyone has the scriptures in English, I would like to read them. Thank you, Pumpkin. Please bear with me. It's 5 verses. And I'll focus on one of the verses after I read it. It says in the 127th Psalm, a song of accents of Solomon, "Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. It is in vain that you rise up early and go late to rest, eating the bread of anxious toil, for he gives to his beloved sleep. Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward. Like arrows in the hand of a warrior are the children of one's youth. Blessed is the man who fills his quiver with them. He shall not be put to shame when he speaks with the enemies in the gate." And the verse that struck to me was this second verse at the end here. For he gives to his beloved sleep. And certainly he had a tenderness in his heart for my sister. He's now given her that eternal sleep. And it's very important that we recognize how precious sleep is in our life. God created us so that we would have balance in our life, that we would be able to work, that we would be able to toil, that we would be able to earn our daily living. One thing that was very important to Jessica was her desire to go to work. Even in her last days, she would always express herself, I've got to go. And I would say, where? And she says, I got to go to work. And she had this innate desire to always do her best, always produce what was inside of her. She was a very interesting person because in her last work that she did for many years, she was involved in campaign raising. But when you talk to her about her political beliefs, she was on the other side of the spectrum of those campaigns that she was engaged in. And yet she threw herself into that as though she believed in it 110%. And she was so good at it that she was able to get people that did not know her over the phone to reach into their wallets and make contributions. I don't know how many of us have that gift to be able to draw that out of people that are complete strangers. But it wasn't the fact that she was talking to strangers. It was her passion. It was her excitement. It was her joy to be able to work and do it with the best that she could give. And she did a wonderful job in that work because she raised lots of money for many causes, but mainly for political causes. But just understand that was the type of person that she was. But understand this notion of sleep, getting our rest. When you get your rest, then you wake up invigorated, you wake up excited, you wake up refreshed. And that's what the Lord does for all of us. He gives us that opportunity every night to be able to say thank you for the day that we lived, and to express our joy and thanksgiving when we wake up. And when we do that, we are able to put forth the best effort that we can during the day. And that's how she decided to live her life, in that fashion. Now the great God of ours gives her eternal rest, eternal sleep, a peacefulness that obviously we didn't know here on this earth, because we all have gone through our ups and downs and our life struggles. And my sister had those. She physically struggled, she emotionally struggled, but she never discounted her faith. That's one blessing that our parents laid into us and my siblings, is to be able to believe in God, to be able to have faith, to be able to trust in a power greater than ourselves. And I think that is her legacy as well, that regardless of her humbleness and her humility in her life, she never turned her back on God, but always was able to bring praise and honor to Him. And this is a testimony of all of you coming together to say thank you for that, and to worship the same glorious Heavenly Father that she shared in, that we share in. Thank you. Yes.
I'll call up your sister.
Vanessa.
Yes. I'll call Vanessa. Yeah. I'd like to invite Vanessa, one of the sisters, to come up and say a few words. I have now known Vanessa for a couple of years also, and the evolution of you as a spirit in your awakening to your Jewish roots has been amazing, and what you've done for your sister is very impressive, and I'm inspired just having met you. So.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing this time with our family and for Jessica. My sister Jessica and I didn't have much in common. For her, the flow of words always came easily. Jessica was funny and glib. She was great at telling jokes, being theatrical, and reciting long pieces of poetry. Her ability to persuade you to do something was unmatched. She would have been able to sell water to a drowning man. I, on the other hand, am shy, self-disciplined, a problem solver, but not as skillful at telling jokes. Jessica and I spent much of our lives living separately, sometimes by choice, but also due to circumstances created by the challenges of our parents and their lifestyles. Ironically, it was these differences in personality, coupled with the pain of family misfortune, that bound us in an inextricable manner and cemented our love. And in a strange and undeniable way, we complemented each other. In the last couple of years, her illness created a road that brought us together. When Jessica became ill, I was heartbroken. No longer were there differences or spaces between us. We were sisters, and it became clear the road of our shared history was stronger and greater than the narrow roads that had separated us as adults. So it was then, when Jessica became ill, that she allowed me, and I embraced the honor of being there to help her through her journey. She rewarded with words of appreciation, embraces of love, and tears that filled my heart. And I know that she too recognized as only a sister can, that I was embracing her with love that was unconditional. We spent many hours reminiscing, laughing and crying, healing each other's heart with tender words and sweet embraces. We spent a beautiful year meeting regularly, with our hearts open to each other, and for that, we were both so grateful. My dear beloved Jessica, thank you for that gift. Thank you. Thank you.
The service here will conclude with the memorial prayer found on page 9 of the booklet. So if you will, please rise. El Mali Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hamtze Menucha, Nechon Al Kanfei Ashchina, B'malos Kedoshim Etahorim Kezohar, Ki Amashirim Es Nishmas, Rivkah, Bas David, Shahal Chalolama, Bavor Shenadvut Tzedakah Bat Haskaras Nishmasa, Began Eden Tehei Menucha Sa Lechein, Baal Harachamim Yasti Reha B'Seiser Kanafav Loi Lamim, Vitzra B'Tzra Chaim Es Nishmasa, Adonai hu nachalasa, v'sanuach al mishkava, v'shalom v'nomar, Amen.